AMX-13 was the most concrete proof that France rejoined the game as a tank designer and producer after the Second World War. It was an innovative and versatile light tank, making it and its derivatives highly popular. Today we're investigating the AMX-13, the lightly armored but powerfully armed legendary French warrior. The AMX-13 was a formidable predator due to its powerful armament, but its inadequate protection also made it an easy prey. Still, a light tank would naturally have light armor. The origin story of this light tank goes back to the early years of the Second World War. France had many well-armed and armored tanks when the panzers flew of them in the Ardennes. Yet, the French army's armored warfare doctrines were not based on high mobility. So, France could not resist the German blitzkrieg tactics and faced a quick defeat in 1940. 4 years later, when the German defeat was seen as inevitable, the French General Staff began to work on their after-war plans as the country has to reorganize its military and defense industry. In February 1945, just 3 months before the fall of Berlin, the French defined the specifications of a new main battle tank, a light tank, and an armored reconnaissance vehicle. According to new French armored doctrines, which was based on the Second World War experiences, light tanks and armored cars, the elements of reconnaissance units, would be highly mobile and have firepower sufficient for anti-tank roles. The initial plan was to create a 12-ton air-portable vehicle that could quickly be deployed overseas, since France faced many independence movements in its colonies. The French army demanded a versatile hull design that could accommodate various types of weaponry. In 1946, Atelier de Construction d'Issy-les-Moulineaux began the design works on the AMX-13 to meet these requirements. The light tank would have the innovative oscillating turret tested on the Panhard Model 201 before 1940. Atelier de Construction d'Issy-les-Moulineaux had initially planned to equip the tank with the 250 horsepower Matisse 8GB20 horizontal 8-cylinder petrol aircraft engine, also used on the Morane-Saulnier MS-733 Alcyon basic trainer and the SCAN-30 seaplane. However, since the Matisse company was bankrupted, the vehicle was fitted with the 250 horsepower CFM Model 8GXB flat 8-cylinder petrol engine. The first prototype was completed in 1948, while 4 additional prototypes were built by 1949. After trials, the French army abandoned the requirement for air transportability and gave the initial order for the AMX-13 in 1951. In 1952, Atelier de Construction Roanne began serial production and the first light tanks were delivered to the 8th Hussar Regiment in the same year. The AMX-13's French army designation was Char 13 tons 75 Model 51. Alongside reconnaissance units, France deployed the tank to the regular armored units. It was initially a temporary solution. The army would later replace them with locally developed heavy tanks. However, since the ARL-44 and AMX-50 programs were cancelled, the AMX-13 preserved its position in the armored units longer than anticipated. Since Atelier de Construction Roanne began serial production of the AMX-30 in the early 1960s, Couzel-Leroy took over the manufacturing duty of the light tank, which ceased in 1987. Argentina also produced the AMX-13 under license. The all-welded steel hull has about 40 mm thickness in front, whereas the sides and turret are 20 to 25 mm. Only the frontal armor can withstand heavy machine gun and small autocannon rounds. Due to low ground clearance and light 10 mm of bottom armor, the AMX-13 has poor protection against landmines. The survivability can be increased via add-on armor packages. The 2-part oscillating turret is the hallmark of the AMX-13. The gun elevation and depression are achieved by tilting the entire upper part. The turret is traversed by rotating the lower part. This design offers several advantages. The gun is placed higher than those in a conventional turret, allowing better protection in the hull-down position. Besides, the oscillating turret enables easier fitment of an autoloader and reduces overall volume, making it smaller. The AMX-13 has an autoloader with 2 6-round revolver cylinders. After the shot, the gun recoil forces rotate another shell into the barrel while empty cartridge cases are ejected through a special hatch at the rear. so the AMX-13 can send 12 rounds to the target within a minute. The Swiss gunners of the Leichter Panzer 51, the Swiss Army designation of the light tank, developed the tactic using this feature. They fire 2 rounds within less than 10 seconds, one direct for short and medium ranges and the other angled for long range. So they could accurately attack a suddenly emerged target, spending no time on range correction. Yet, nothing comes without a price. The AMX-13's oscillating turret requires reloading from outside. After firing all 12 rounds in the autoloader within a minute, the crew must leave the armor protection to load spare ammunition inside the vehicle. Since it is too risky to execute this work during combat, the AMX-13 has to retreat to a safe area for reloading. The oscillating turret design has other disadvantages. In this design, the clearance between the turret's rear and the hull's deck determines the maximum gun elevation angle. Compared to a conventional design, it may result in a lower maximum elevation and range. Still, the main gun of the AMX-13 has -8 and +12 degrees of depression elevation angle. The oscillating turret design has 2 split parts, making it structurally weaker than the one-piece design. Besides, the gap between the upper and lower parts is hard to seal, so it is open for water and air leakages, causing problems during water crossing and making the vehicle vulnerable in the CBRN environment. One of our viewers, Iman Madani, asked why the AMX-13 never fires while moving. It was a happy coincidence since we were already preparing our video. The answer is the oscillating turret. Due to the large mass of the movable part, stabilizing the gun vertically is extremely difficult. So, adjusting the main armament's elevation angle for range during the move is almost impossible for the gunner. Besides, the AMX-13's hydraulic turret drive is not accompanied by fire control and stabilization systems, which makes aiming further challenging while moving. We will briefly mention only some AMX-13 variants to keep our video short and sweet. The first production variant of the light tank has the FL-10 turret armed with a 75mm CN-7550 gun with a single baffled muzzle brake. The main armament is based on the German 7.5cm KWK-42 L70 used in the Panther tank, but its barrel length is reduced to 61 caliber. It can only fire armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds. The later AMX-13 version, which entered service in the early 1960s, has the 90mm and 57 caliber CN90 F3 gun with a thermal sleeve and a single baffle muzzle brake. It is similar to the DEFA D921F low-pressure gun developed for the AML-90. The tank keeps the FL-10 turret. Unlike its predecessor, this variant can also fire armor-piercing, fin-stabilized discarding sabot and high-explosive anti-tank rounds. The AMX-13 with the 105mm 57 caliber CN105 gun was developed for export and has the new FL-12 turret. The AMX-13 has a variant with the FL-15 turret, which closely resembles the older FL-12 but incorporates more advanced observation equipment. This variant can be equipped with a fire control system to enhance target acquisition, reduce engagement time, and increase accuracy. The modernized Ecuadorian AMX-13s have a 105mm gun and the Subtac 18 fire control system. The Singaporean AMX-13 SM1 version is fitted with the 290 horsepower Detroit diesel 6V53D engine, a new fully automatic transmission, a new electrical system, and hydropneumatic suspension system. Still, it retains the 75mm main armament. Some Indonesian AMX-13s were upgraded to the same standards. The local PT Pinda company also modernized some other Indonesian AMX-13s with new diesel engines, transmission, torsion bar suspensions, fire control systems, and 105mm CN105 G1 guns. The Venezuelan modernized AMX-13s have the 280 horsepower Detroit diesel 6V53T engine, along with a new 3-speed fully automatic transmission with torque converter, a new cooler with a thermostatically controlled centrifugal fan. They also have a new hydropneumatic suspension and the Subtac 1802 fire control system. The Peruvian modernized AMX-13s have modern communication systems, a 105mm gun, and a 260 horsepower KHD V8 diesel engine. They can carry 4 9M14 2T Malutka anti-tank guided missiles, whose NATO reporting name is AT-3 Sagar. The light tank also has the AMX-13 Model 1955 Depannage Armored Recovery and AMX-13 PDP bridge layer versions. The chassis of the AMX-13 has been used for a wide range of vehicles, including the personnel carrier, self-propelled howitzer, and self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. Venezuela uses the tank's hull for its local air defense, fire support, and multiple rocket launcher variants. In 1957, France fitted some of the AMX-13 hulls with the turret of the US M24 Chaffee. After serving in Algeria, they were converted to driver training tanks. Some AMX-13s were fitted with the FL-11 turret of the EBR armored car. After realizing that the 75mm main armament was ineffective against modern Soviet tanks, France introduced new AMX-13 variants with SS-11 anti-tank missiles. Some Peruvian AMX-13s were converted to armored anti-tank vehicles. They were fitted with the 9M133 Carniet E, whose NATO reporting name is AT-14 Spriggan, while their main guns were removed. The AMX-13's turrets have also been fitted to the Austrian SK-105, Brazilian EE-17 Skoury, and some modified Egyptian M4 Shermans. More than 25 countries took the light tanks into their service. According to the Military Balance 2024 edition of the International Institute for Strategic Studies, Ecuador, Indonesia, Peru, Singapore, and Venezuela still operate the AMX-13. The crew of the AMX-13-90 variant is 3 people: a commander, a gunner, and a driver. The light tank is 6.36 meters long, 2.51 meters wide, and 2.3 meters high. Its combat weight is 15,000 kilograms. The 250 horsepower SFAM Model 8 GXB petrol engine provides a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour. The range of the tank is 400 kilometers. The AMX-13-90 can negotiate 0.65 meter vertical steps and 1.6 meter trenches. It can be fought to a depth of 0.6 meters. The light tank has one 90mm CN90 F3 main gun and two 7.5 or 7.62mm machine guns. During the Suez Crisis of 1956, both France and Israel used the AMX-13s against Egypt. The 2nd AMX-13 Squadron of the French 2nd Foreign Cavalry Regiment was deployed in Port Fouad to reinforce the 1st Foreign Parachute Regiment. One battalion with the AMX-13s of the Israeli 27th Brigade reached the Suez Canal. On the other hand, during the Six-Day War, Israeli AMX-13s suffered heavy losses against Egyptian T-55s and IS-3s. Still, they also played crucial roles in the victories of all 3 fronts. During the Second Indo-Pakistani War, the Pakistani 1st Armored Division with 264 US-made M47 and M48 Pattons was defeated in the Battle of Asal Uttar on September 10, 1965. The Indian AMX-13s of the 8th Cavalry Regiment had their share in this victory. The light tank also fought in low-intensity conflicts in the Dominican Republic, Indonesia, Lebanon, and Morocco. Thanks to its low ground pressure, low cost, versatility, and reliability, the AMX-13 reached a vast market, especially in Southeast Asia and South America, which had wet soil and insufficient infrastructure. Yet it would be unfair to claim it was a light tank of low-intensity conflicts. It also fought in major battles and became as successful as a light tank could be. The AMX-13 has deservedly earned the title Legend. Thanks for watching our video. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments, and shares.